The French organ mass is a type of low mass that came into use during the Baroque era. Essentially, it is a low mass with organ music playing throughout part of the so-called alternatim practice. History. The French organ mass is a classic example of the so-called alternatim practice, a term which indicates a type of liturgy when alternate sections of liturgical items were performed by different forces in organ alternatim practice, and so, in the French organ mass, the organist plays when texts would otherwise have been sung. The tradition stemmed from the antiphonal psalmody of the early Western Church. In France, organ playing was regulated by printed ceremonials, which specified precisely when the organist should play. The surviving ceremonials are all similar in outline, but differ widely in details. A typical organ mass comprised versets for the ordinary of the Mass except for the Credo. One of the most important texts and ceremonials was written in 1662 and regulated the Diocese of Paris. According to this ceremonial, the organ begins the Kyrie and alternates with the choir through ninefold repetitions. After the priest intones the first line of the Gloria, the organ again begins the alternation with the choir. After the final verse of the Gloria, the organist would accompany the offertory. This time there is no alternation and the music does not replace the chant as earlier. After the offertory comes the Sanctus, followed by the Elevation, a high point in the liturgy. The Sanctus begins with an organ verse and proceeds in any of the following three ways. The Benedictus is substituted with an organ verset, and then a second organ solo accompanies the Elevation. The Benedictus is sung, and then the organist accompanies the Elevation. A single organ verset covers both the Benedictus and the following Elevation. This is followed by the Agnus Dei, which consists of three parts. The organ begins this part of the liturgy and alternates with the choir. At the Holy Communion, the music either accompanies the distribution of the elements, or at the antiphon played just before that. At the end of the Mass, the priest sang the last words, Ite miseris, and the organist performed the response, Deo gratias. A psalm verse follows, and sometimes after it there is a sortie, a procession. Altogether, an average Mass would comprise about 20 versets. Church contracts that survive from that time show that the organist played not only at every Mass, but also during various other offices and ceremonies. An organist may have been required to play at as many as 400 services a year, which means that much, if not all, of the music was improvised, and the surviving Masses can be regarded as models for such improvisations. Musically, the majority of the organ masses were modeled after the Missa Cuncta Potens Genita, which contained chant melodies. However, composers differed on how they treated these melodies in the works. The 1662 ceremonial specified that the original melodies had to be clearly audible in certain versets, and in cases when Missa Cuncta Potens was used, organists generally complied. Composers. The following is a list of composers of French organ masses, arranged chronologically by date of publication of the masses. Guillaume Gabriel Nivers, a Mass in second livre d'orgue. Nicolas Leberger, Mass in second livre d'orgue. Nicolas Gigot, 3 Masses in livre de musique pour l'orgue. André Raison, 5 Masses in premier livre d'orgue. François Couperin, Messer usage ordinaire des paroisses, Messer propre pour les couvents religieux et religieux uses. Nicolas de Grigny, La Messe in premier livre d'orgue. Gaspard Corrette, Messe du Etiton pour l'orgue usage des dames religieux uses. Michel Corrette, Masses of the Trachimi livre d'orgue. Jos-François Joseph bought at least 10 masses in numerous livres des pieces d'orgue. Additionally, an anonymous manuscript created around 1680 contains an organ mass by an unknown composer. The manuscript was attributed by Émile Écoute Gastuet to a member of the Geoffroy family, probably Jean-Nicolas Geoffroy. However, according to later research, there is no evidence for such attribution.